What's up, Earthlings? Today we're talking about calorie creep. 10 ways calories sneak in to your diet unnoticed. And have you ever heard something like, oh yeah, I was in a calorie deficit for a long time and I didn't lose any weight? Those people are effectively calling themselves out for stuff on this list. Because it's the law.
That's the law. Not so funny now, is it?
The law, specifically, of thermodynamics. If you are actually in a calorie deficit, you are going to be losing weight over the long term. So, number one is going to be butter, grease, oil, fat, lard, especially if you're cooking with it. So, you're making a meal, you're excited, and you're cooking your eggs in butter. Well, that butter has calories, a lot of calories actually, and a lot of people just seem to ignore the cooking process. You can't do that, okay? These calories are still going in your pie hole.
Now, it's starting to come together. It's starting to go a little bit thick.
And sometimes this even goes for calorie-free sprays. It might say 0 calories, but this is because they are rounding down, and they're measuring like 1,000th of a second of spray. No one actually does that. So if you actually spray the entire pan with the spray for a decent amount of time, well, it's going to be way more calories than 0. Next up, number 2, condiments. So mustard, ketchup, they have calories. Stuff like mayonnaise, salad dressing, ranch, these have a ton of calories. If you put a good amount of salad dressing on your salad, that might have more calories than everything else in the salad combined. And yet a lot of people just aren't counting that. Salad dressing can turn a salad from a very, very good choice into having more calories than a few pieces of pizza or a burger. Seriously, it is absolutely energy dense, and that's why it tastes so good. And this is where someone says something like, I'm eating nothing but salad and I'm struggling to lose weight. Send me pictures. Send me pictures of the salad, and more often than not, it's like pieces of lettuce floating in a mayonnaise ocean with bacon bits and walnuts and all kinds of stuff, where it's just a lot of calories, okay? A healthy salad is very, very low energy density, but you can absolutely turn it into a shitstorm of calories. Number 3, cheese. I know, it gets a category of its own. Partly because I only had 9 and I had to, get a 10th. Top 9 ways calories are sneaking in. Who's going to watch that, right? Like, no, you got to have 10 for some reason. But honestly, some people add cheese to damn near everything. They would add cheese to their morning coffee if they could. Yeah, cheese still counts. I know, shocking. Just because you sprinkle something doesn't mean it doesn't count. Number 4, protein shakes. I've actually heard people say that protein doesn't count in terms of calories. And perhaps this is due to that study by Jose Antonio where they had people eat like 4.4 grams per kilo, 2 grams per pound of protein. They just gave them a bunch of shakes to add to their diet. And the high protein group, the super high protein group, I should say, they didn't add any weight. They didn't get any fatter. Well, there's no mechanistic reason to think why this would be the case. It does have higher satiation, and it is a higher thermic effect of food, so it's going to take more energy to digest, but it's not free. Okay, you can't just add protein to your diet and expect that the calories don't count. They still absolutely do count. What probably happened in that study, it was a self-reported food intake. They probably got full from eating all this goddamn protein, and they were just like, well, I'm not going to eat anything else. And so, yeah, it didn't count, but it still counted, right? Number 5, coffee. If it's not black, it's not something that I'm interested in. But if you're adding in creamers, milk, sugar, like, would you like some coffee with your sugar? You see some people and it's like, packet of sugar.
It's powdered sugar.
Packet of sugar.
Delicious.
Some milk, and there's like a little bit of coffee in there too. That is calories. That is energy. That counts in terms of your caloric intake. If you go to Starbucks and it's like this hazelnut chocolate ice cream thing with a little bit of caffeine in it as well, that is calories. That counts. That absolutely counts. That might be more than a normal meal. Similarly, number 6, Alcohol. Yeah, it's a liquid, but it still has a lot of calories. Often there's a lot of carbohydrates as well. It can lead to making bad decisions, which you rarely count in your sort of calorie log, right? I would attempt to do this when I counted calories. It's not easy, right? You try to count it as, like you're reading the bottle, you're like, 8% alcohol. How many milliliters is this bitch? And it's tough. It's actually tough to count. And this can easily be hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands of calories per day if you really get after it. Number 7, snacks. You would be surprised how many clients, they eat 3 meals per day and they should be in a deficit, but then you ask them a little bit further and like, oh yeah, I had like a mid-afternoon snack, a mid-morning snack, a midnight snack. They're snacking all the time, okay? They're eating 10 times per day. And yeah, your insulin levels are going to be high, your blood glucose levels are going to be high, but it's still just ultimately about calories. It's not the insulin. It's just that you're eating too many calories, and it's hard to actually be in a deficit when you're eating 10 times per day. And guess what? Most snack food, it's very, very calorie dense, it's very, very tasty, it's very easy to overconsume. Number 9, binging / the weekends. Now, these often go hand in hand, but not necessarily. Binging, people say, oh yeah, I'm eating 1,000 calories per day and I'm not losing weight. Yeah, a lot of the other stuff is going on, but sometimes it's just binging. Like maybe they are legitimately on 1,000 calories per day on some days, but every third day is 7,000 calories. And somehow that doesn't get reported. Same thing for the weekends. You can easily ruin a diet in just 2 days per week. Okay, let's say your maintenance is 2,500. You're on 2,000, just a standard sort of 500 calorie deficit most days. 4,000 calories on the weekends? Boom, diet done. And especially if you're consuming calorie-dense foods, 4,000 calories per day is really not that hard. Especially if you've been in a deficit the other days, you're a little bit hungrier, you're going to overconsume, and so you might think, oh yeah, I'm eating 2,000 calories per day. Well, yeah, but not on average. Number 9, restaurants. If you eat out, you legitimately have no idea how many calories you're consuming. Okay, you can try to guess, you can look at some online databases. Those are just guesses, and they're usually not even very good guesses, okay? You think the guy making your burrito at Chipotle is like, is he finely tuning, squeezing the mayonnaise into your burrito?
It's in. Oh my god, it's in.
He doesn't give a fuck, okay? He really does not give a shit about your diet. And I would say a lot of these databases are straight up wrong, right? And they're usually on the optimistic side because you see that low calorie count and you're like, oh, I want to go here. But yeah, the calories might be 50% more. I've even heard people argue that, oh, the FDA must keep these people in check. First of all, legally, they can be 20% off in either direction. Second of all, the FDA does not give a fuck about your diet, okay? They really do not care at all.
Meow.
Finally, number 10, eyeballing portions. So you take that tablespoon of peanut butter. That's not a tablespoon, bro. That's like 3 tablespoons. So you could easily be eating a few hundred calories extra of peanut butter or anything else per day that you're trying to eyeball, and you would never know. Or maybe deep down you do know, but you're bullshitting yourself. Eyeball your vegetables or something, right? Like if you go over 30% on your broccoli portion, like doesn't matter at all. But on these higher calorie energy density foods, yeah, it absolutely matters, and you can easily be consuming hundreds upon hundreds and sometimes thousands of extra calories per day. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't count calories. I'm not saying that counting calories doesn't work. It does work. But it's also very easy to mess up. And I highly encourage you to weigh yourself regularly because that is the result that you are actually trying to get. Counting calories, this is just a way to see if you are in a deficit, at maintenance, or in a surplus, and how much it is. Okay, so your actual goal is to gain or lose weight or to maintain the same level of weight. So focus on that rather than trying to micromanage the calories. Because if you think you're in a deficit and nothing is happening, you're probably not in a deficit. So it is essential to get feedback during the process. And if you had to choose one between counting your calories strictly and not weighing yourself, and weighing yourself and not counting strictly, always go for weighing yourself. It's just much better information, and added bonus, it's much easier to do. It takes like 10 seconds per day. And you would be surprised at how many people in the fitness industry, they don't count calories. In fact, I would say it's actually the norm. Some do, and many counted before or counted at one point, often for several years, but later, you don't necessarily have to count calories. You can just track your weight and eat more or less intuitively or instinctively once you have those good habits formed. But it has to be a focus on the habits more than just the numbers. And I'm not opposed to counting calories. In fact, I have many clients who still count, and I think it's a very, very useful tool, especially for appraising and assessing foods in a logical and rational manner. But you have to realize that it's not everything, and it is easy to mess up. So comment below, let me know which one you are guilty of, which one have you messed up in the past, or are you still currently messing up? Like, comment, subscribe, definitely grab a copy of my book over here if you're interested, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.
All right, everybody, come on, let's go.